Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lifegasm. I am your host, Elle. Unfortunately, I'm flying solo for the rest of my life because JP has left us. As some of you know, he will come back to guest appearance once in a while. So he promised. And so every week I'm going to have a different co-host guest. And this week I have our in-house psychotherapist, Liz Lerner, once again.
Yay.
Yay. So everybody grab your favorite cocktail, mocktail, or smoketail. Cheers. Cheers. And whatever gets you going. And we're just going to carry on. This week's topic is egos, which is very interesting because we deal with this every day of our lives. We all have them, mostly positive, hopefully, but sometimes if they're inflated, I guess they would be negative.
Right. So,
is that correct?
Right. There's like there's different shapes and sizes to all kinds of things, right? So it's kind of like an ego, right? We've got small, medium, and large, right? And if you have a huge ego, that can present some different kinds of traits, which can be a little off-putting to others when you've got this huge ego versus maybe like a humble ego, right? So, which is somebody that's very, low key, right?
Right.
So if you're in a relationship, whether it's with your boss or your partner or even a family member, if somebody has a really big ego, that can cause a lot of issues with somebody who's maybe has a humble ego, or so there's a lot of friction, right? And it can actually cause a lot of issues. Or,
right.
Even if you say you were working with a family member, say you had a family business, right? And the boss is the dad, and then you have like siblings, and maybe the sister and brother. They're arguing amongst themselves, but the person with the biggest ego usually wins because they're the boss, almost kind of like a bully, So sometimes there's not a lot of movement in these types of businesses. That's why you often hear family businesses falling apart or somebody quitting or somebody,
Right.
just they can't work with that family member because the ego's too big.
Right.
The ego is the enemy, though.
And a big ego.
It's hurt a lot of my relationships because of.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I looked up like the definition, which there's a few out there. An inflated feeling of pride in your superiority to others. So I guess that would be more towards the big ego, egomaniac, negative side of it. And then like from the dictionary, which we all have, is a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance.
Right.
Which we all have.
Right.
So how does it become, or when does it become, or are people just like born with it? What happens? How do you get this? Like
the inflated ego?
Yeah, that inflated,
I don't think you're born with an inflated sense of self.
Right.
I think you learn this type of behavior.
You learn this behavior.
It also could be, you could be neglected as a child. So you've now learned to be like this independent person. And you think, you can do everything yourself, which is also a trauma response when people are like, I've got this, I can do it myself.
Yes.
I don't need your help, right? So you're not born with a big ego.
Right.
Or you get raised, especially in this society, which is another topic. Oh, you're doing such a great job. And they did like a really crappy job. You know what I mean? And so they have this false sense of, I'm so great. I'm the most wonderful, piano player. And meanwhile, they play terribly or, or sports.
Like people pump you up and make your head ginormous. Like
participation.
They make you, they pump you up and they pump up your ego so much that you're like, I'm the best. I can do anything.
Right. And then
everybody else.
And then they become adults, get married, and then they bring that ego into the marriage. Right. And then that's when we see conflict because say the wife sees the husband for really who he is. Right.
And then she's like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, or like, how did I get here? But
How did I see this?
right. And usually you do see that through the red flags. One of the biggest red flags in a relationship is this person's personality, their sense of self, how they present themselves. So if they walk in with a huge ego, like I can do any of this.
I can do anything.
Hey,
right.
Liz, I could do your job. I had a guy once tell me in my early 20s that he could do my job with his eyes shut.
That's
And
insane.
I thought to myself, what an arrogant SOB.
Right.
Like, are you serious right now?
Right.
You can say son of a bitch. You don't have to say
Anyway.
SOB.
I'm trying to keep it PG.
Keep
but,
it professional.
No, we are.
Okay, maybe later we'll get it.
We are. We don't
Go
give a
to
fuck.
X-rated.
I don't give a fuck.
But those are red flags, little signs when you can tell
Right.
some, like if your personality senses somebody's got an arrogance about them, a big ego, it may not work out very well
Right,
because
of
you're feeling like you're maybe almost like walking on eggshells.
You're walking on eggshells. You feel inferior.
Right, or judged.
Or judged.
Because
Right.
this person's so self-centered.
Because they all,
Mhm.
and this is another thing, I have judging others. They judge everybody. Manipulation, inflexible,
Mhm.
mood swings, need for praise,
Mhm.
like the attaboy,
Attaboy.
Sure. Like, here's your little cookie.
Yeah.
You took the garbage
always
out.
trying to pump, you have to
Yay.
pump them up,
Right.
It's exhausting. And feeling superior.
Mhm.
Obviously, we just went over that. But yeah. So how do you handle somebody in therapy
Mhm.
with a huge ego that is just a fucking asshole?
Yeah, that's interesting. Can you
Like the
fix
guy
it?
that told
Can you
you
fix
that
it?
Yeah.
that guy that
Yeah,
told you
it's
they
a-
could do your job.
Can you bring someone down a few pegs? I know personally, I'm going to tell you real quick. Personally, I have a couple friends, dear friends of mine. One's ego is it gets so big at times. He gets so inflated that everybody's like, what the fuck? We need to
Mhm.
take him down a few
Mhm.
notches. And I've actually had talks with them and been like, you got to fucking chill. Like, we're all the same.
Mhm.
We love you. We know you're great, but stop it.
You know what it is? It's really because they're really insecure.
Insecure.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
You would
they're-
think so, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
got to be what it is.
right.
I
Yeah.
would never be like, I'm so great.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
comes to me because
Yeah.
I'm the best.
Right.
No, I say there's so many wonderful people in the helping professions. Like I'm always, when people need help, if they don't want to come see me, I tell them, go see this person, go see that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'd be great fit. For me, it's a good person with a healthy ego
Mm.
is somebody that knows how to share. Right?
A healthy sense of self. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, you might not fit with
Right.
me, but here's this person, that person that could also
Right.
help you out. But yeah, I guess if somebody has a super inflated ego, can you fix that, or is that like you can't get through to them type of
I
situation?
guess it would depend
I guess it
on
depends. Yeah.
it would, and this is where it gets a little, hairy.
Yeah.
If the person has an actual personality disorder,
Yeah.
that's when the answer would be a hard no.
Right.
It cannot be fixed.
Right.
Narcissists, that's just who they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's another topic for another time. But if you're arrogant and you have a, inflated ego, right? And it's called
Called out.
to you, and you say, hey, you know what? Do you know that like when you go out places and you act like that, it's really kind of obnoxious, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
look like very conceited and
Yeah.
and pompous, and actually it's kind of rude.
Yeah.
You don't let people talk. You speak over people. You think you know everything about world politics or
Right.
whatever.
Whatever. Right.
Right.
And it's very off-putting to the little people around you, right? It makes us feel like, well, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah.
And so maybe they can learn from that by saying, you know what, you're right. Next time I'm out somewhere, I'm
Right.
going to take a seat back and just chill out and give other people chances to.
Right. And that's
share.
what my friend, one of my friends, he kind of realizes it
Mhm.
and he's good for a while. But then he like gets, it happens again.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, you're doing it again.
But
Fucking relax.
I do think people can change though. Like, unless you're like
Absolutely.
mentally like,
Unless
That's
you have a
like-
disorder.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Well,
that's
definitely.
good, I guess.
Definitely. I
do
think
think
ego
people
can
can
be worked on.
change.
Yes.
yeah, because I bet all of us in this room have our own little flaws.
For sure.
Or certain things that we do or certain behaviors that might not be that we know in ourselves that we
Yeah.
have to kind of monitor our own ego. Like say you break up with somebody, right? Or they break up with you. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Say there's this guy and he's like really, really, really obnoxious. Okay. And he's like very low level. Okay. Like you met him out at, the corner store somewhere. And, you're over here, you're this professional. And then there's this guy who's like barely can speak, proper language, form a sentence. But this guy dumps you. And then you get very upset. So that's more of an ego thing to yourself. Like,
Sure.
how could you discard?
How could you, right.
Could you
How do
dump
you
me?
discard this?
Right.
Or,
Right.
this person.
Right. It
who's not all-
damages your ego.
It
right.
So
it hurts your ego.
So when people come to my office and talk about these situations, like I can't believe he dumped me for the waitress or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, this is not about the guy. The guy's like a loser, right? This is about you.
You.
This is about you and your ego. You have a bruised ego,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
right? And so people this can take people down for months.
Yes.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
guys?
Right.
Yeah, of course.
So when we bring it to their attention, like this isn't about the guy. This is
Yeah.
about you,
Right.
right? So we have to
Nothing
kind of
about
work on
So it's your kind of self-esteem issue
yes,
too.
work on their confidence
like,
again.
what am
because-
I doing? Yeah.
or like
kind of
people
thing.
that cheat. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
say,
Yeah. Ooh.
someone gets cheated on, right? And the guy's like, "Oh, well, it's your fault,"
Oh yeah, that's a bold stance to take with someone.
right?
To
That
be like,
it's
I cheated on you and it's
Cheated
your
on
fault.
you, but it's your fault. You made me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it makes that other person it scars you, right? So
Yeah.
it takes time to heal those things and kind of
Right. Right.
work on your personality and your self-worth and value and all that good stuff we talk about
Right.
and rebuilding yourself because someone like that can really damage your ego.
Yeah,
Right.
makes sense.
So what about egomaniacs? Let's talk about egomaniacs because I'm
Mhm.
fascinated
Mhm.
by this, especially now what's going on in Hollywood. Well, not now going on in Hollywood, which is always going on in
Mhm.
Hollywood. I believe like celebrities, a lot of them obviously are egomaniac. They are. I mean, politicians, whatever. We're not going to
People in
politics.
power,
People in power,
Or
right?
in the
Exactly.
spotlight.
In the spotlight.
What does that
Um,
mean? What is an egomaniac? I've always heard the term. What is it? Do we?
Well, it's just a nice way of saying, the person's an egotistical son of a bitch.
Okay, got it.
Right? So this person
Fair
is
enough.
like
The ego is super
it's
inflated.
so
Super
inflated
ego.
that it's almost
Super.
delusional.
Got it.
Delusional.
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
It's
Okay.
delusional when people say, "Oh yeah, I'm the," and they make up lies, and they actually believe the lies
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
just so they can get people to like them.
Yeah.
Right. So remember, they have a very small self-esteem, low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to go full throttle, or you see them like, very showy and
Do you think that's true with a lot of people in Hollywood? I mean, actors and actresses and celebrities and whoever. Because from what I've seen now with the Blake Lively
Mhm.
and Justin Baldoni, controversy and what's going on there, I feel like it's two egos. Maybe I don't want to say her and has more of one. But I feel because she fired first that maybe they're saying that Ryan Reynolds, her husband, is
Mhm.
behind it. He's got this, he's an egomaniac. He's
Mhm.
this, he's that. And he pushed her to do this. And for whatever reason, we don't know. We don't know the facts. We just know what's presented to us, which we don't know what is true, what isn't. But then you have Justin Baldoni, he fired back, obviously. And I don't think that was expected, a lot of people are saying.
Yeah.
So it's almost like
No one's backing down.
it's no one's
Yeah.
backing down. It's like ego against
Mhm.
ego, even though I think hers might be more inflated because of
Mhm.
her husband. What do you,
right.
I mean,
I mean, sometimes people who you're married to or dating or
Right.
related to, maybe you just want to chill and not like you want to just let things go, maybe, or just not.
Right.
But maybe the person's like, "How could you do that? You can't let
Right,
that guy get away with
right.
that. He
Yeah.
did this
Push
to
it,
you on
right.
the set, and
Mhm.
right.
you were harassed. And
Yeah.
what kind of woman are you? Like
Yeah.
you're not going to stand up for your rights."
Right.
When you know what? Sometimes my motto is this: would you rather be right or happy?
Oh, I love that. I
Exactly.
love that. I
Al
love
needs
that
to
It's going to
myself
saying.
to
be,
you.
I think
Love
it's going to
that
turn
saying.
into
I think so too.
it's not going to be a win-win.
No one's
It's gonna
going to
be
win.
This is going to be really, really bad.
It's
Yeah,
ugly.
everybody looks
Yeah,
bad.
ugly.
Everybody loses.
Really ugly. I mean, it's already ugly, but and then we have P. Diddy, who's an egomaniac.
Oh my gosh.
and-
That
think he's got a
is-
lot of
but
problems.
he's
Yes.
8 million different things. He's got a personality disorder.
Right.
He has,
Yeah.
I mean, we
Right.
all know
He
this.
thinks
Come on.
when you're above the law and that
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're gonna get
Yeah.
away with something.
Yeah.
OJ
I mean,
Simpson,
Same thing.
Right.
Right.
it's like
Right.
things like that. Like they really do think they could get away with something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeesh.
But how do we deal with these people? If say
Sometimes they're too far gone.
yeah, so
Like
it's
you
kind
said.
of like you have
I
to
mean, it's
you got to learn your audience
Because if you have a personality disorder combined with this, it's too far gone.
Mhm. Yeah, it's kind of like
So if you're
too much to even try to even bother to mend.
yeah,
So it's kind of like
because it's not going to work.
no, you kind of almost have to I'm not say placate and tiptoe around, but if it's your boss,
hmm
either look for another job,
Right.
Because there will be no winning. You know what I mean?
Or you have to maybe deal with it in a certain way, maybe be soft and not
Mhm.
Do you just
Right.
limit your time with them? Like limit your exposure to them? That's usually what I do in situations where I have an issue with someone's personality. I do the bare minimum interaction with them that I
Right.
need to.
Yes,
It's just like,
yes.
okay, yeah, I got to do
That's-
X, Y, and Z, and then I'm going to
Right.
back
That's
out,
what I
not
do.
spend any more
That's
time.
what I do.
Yeah,
Yes, you
totally.
do what's required
That's
of you.
exactly
Yep.
what I do.
Exactly.
He, I have a guy, this man, older person. He works for a huge company, still works, loves the job, but his boss is an egomaniac. And he's got such anxiety because of the boss, right? So
Yeah.
we're working on kind of what we're talking about today, like kind of like knowing your audience, how to not attach your soul to this person.
Sure.
Right.
What
Right.
happens is
Right.
you literally start getting sick. So you have to protect yourself from attaching to what they say.
Yeah.
Just do
Right.
what they
You gotta
what they
be
say,
like,
but don't
it's-
read into it.
Yeah, it's not about me.
Right.
His thing is about
never
him.
is.
Right.
I just got to
His ego is about him.
Yeah, exactly. Let me do whatever I need, whatever's required, and then I'm going to step back
Right.
from it.
And
Because I
kinda
can't let this affect
Right.
how I feel about
Yeah.
myself.
And you always have to soften. I feel like soften
Yeah, it sucks.
and make it.
Right. Well, and also like say somebody says something
Deal
really,
with it tactfully.
Yeah, if somebody
Yeah.
if they're abusing you though, say you're at
Oh, that's
Sure.
yeah.
the workplace
that's
and the guys or girl or whatever female is really really obnoxious and rude and says something maybe condescending to
Mhm.
I mean people think I'm like the hired help sometimes and yeah I am, I'm hired,
good.
but I'm also
Sure.
a professional. Like
Yeah.
you can't talk to me that way. Be
Right.
demanding, arrogant, almost like bullied,
Yeah.
right? So you can stand up, I teach you how to stand up for yourself to say, hey, when you talk to me like that, I really didn't appreciate that. And they might be like, F you, get another job. Or they might say something like, well, that's how I am. And say, well, okay, well, that might be how you are, but I'm not used to someone speaking to me.
Right.
Right.
Like, nobody talks to me that way.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to put up with that.
Right,
So
right,
we
right.
have a boundary here.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
If you cannot adjust the way you speak to me, then this isn't going to work.
right.
Right.
Would
right,
be
right.
a way to handle
Right,
that. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Fucking slow
Yeah.
your roll.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, people,
Fucking-
you get in trouble for that. Like,
Calm
it's like,
down that fucking ego.
Yeah, it's like almost like a hostile environment.
Fuckers.
Yeah.
I
Totally.
had a guy ask me to kiss his entire ass.
What?
He came into
Literally?
the office. This is when I was
Literally?
younger, and I
Literally?
was doing insurance, and his premium went up, and he came.
This
in the
is
office,
lightning.
he's-
Talent producer.
He said, "You're gonna kiss my entire ass."
Oh.
So I just
did he know
took
who
a second.
Did he know who he was talking to?
I just said I'd never been asked to kiss the entire ass.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. Right. You gave it right back to him.
Right.
Yeah.
And turn
Get out of
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right. So that's a perfect example of how you de-escalated the situation, did not take it personally and put it
With
back on
humor.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes.
do.
Yeah. All right. What else? What else we got? What else we got? What else?
Well, I think teaching like the younger generation,
That's what I was
Right.
going
you
to
know
say.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like teaching kids, younger people, when they're
Yeah.
in relationships or
yes.
even at school, like you could have a teacher or a professor that's got a huge ego,
Huge ego.
Mhm.
and you're just like, oh my
Been there,
God.
done that. All of us have.
Right. You
I'm
feel
sure.
like you're at the mercy of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's
And you're like, what the fuck?
it can cause a lot of anxiety, right?
Yeah.
So it's,
Totally.
we have to learn how to,
Shit.
I guess, teach
I need a
people
paper towel.
what's appropriate and what's not.
Spilled it.
Yeah, that's a tough one with
Mhm.
teachers. And like,
Yeah.
I feel like the time I've experienced that is with college professors,
Yes.
especially if they've been there a long
Yes.
time, they're tenured, they have this very inflated sense of self. Yeah, that's a
Yes.
tough one.
It
because
is.
Your grades depend on it. so you-
Exactly.
and it sucks bending to somebody's
Yeah.
ego.
You have to
I
kiss their
don't like it,
ass.
but you do kind of have to placate them. That
You-
sucks.
It
Yeah.
sucks.
Right. So what does it teach us? It teaches us very unhealthy patterns in ourselves
Exactly.
because now we're like acquiescing to their dysfunction.
Which is
Yeah.
the worst feeling in the world.
Really
Worse,
is.
especially when you're in college. You're a
Yeah,
kid.
Where they
right.
tell
I'm
you,
just
and
trying to figure
people
it out.
remember these things, how you're talked to as a kid, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, you're never going to amount to anything because you can't even read, or you're,
Yeah.
people
Wild thing to
people
say to a
remember
kid.
these things.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so I think everyone watching this or listening to this would be able to relate to somebody.
Absolutely.
Has this ever happened to you before?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Definitely. What else?
Did you ever date anybody with a huge ego?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What was one of the
The
weirdest things?
biggest list.
Tell us,
The weirdest.
tell us
The
something. One of the
biggest
weirdest thing someone ever did with such an ego. What they thought.
Oh God. I got to think about that. Oh, there's so many things. Oh, give me
Right?
some.
It's a
Give me
big
some.
one.
Give me some.
You should have
You know me.
What about like any festivals that you go to and
Oh, well, like when you're out,
Mhm.
you're out with your so-called boyfriend,
Right?
and they may you're out in public. You go to something together.
they don't want to walk
an event,
next to you?
and they don't walk next to you. They walk in front.
Oh
of you.
yeah. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
Somebody
we
walking in front
talked
of you.
about this
That's
a couple weeks-
bananas.
last week,
Yeah.
or the
Oh,
week
okay.
before.
Mhm.
Yeah, we talked about it,
Oh.
and they walk. Yeah, I'm like, the fuck's
hell?
that,
Mm-hmm.
motherfucker?
Yeah.
You're not better than me.
Right.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
No. That they present as this like big personality, and then
Yeah.
behind closed doors,
Yeah.
forget it.
Yeah, because they have really low self-esteem.
Right. They
Mm.
they can dish it out in public, but when they get home, they can't.
Yeah.
Like the people telling off the Comcast or any kind of bill agency, they bully people.
Bully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Egomaniacs are bullies.
Yeah.
but they're nothing in
They're
real
bullies.
life.
And it's never going to change,
not,
unfortunately.
right,
because
I know.
you would think that bullying would have
And we-
stopped.
I know, and we really need to control this in right now in this environment and what we're in right now.
Mhm.
We need to start controlling this,
Right.
and it's so out of control. I feel like
Mhm.
with Hollywood,
Mhm.
with social media, with,
politicians.
politicians.
Yeah.
It is so out of fucking control in this country.
Even with
It's
everything going on
ridiculous.
now with the politics, with the egos.
Oh,
with
it's
the land
it's
fighting,
nuts.
it's everything
crazy.
is ego based right now.
It's crazy. And so why can't we need to get control of this. People need to stand up for themselves. And I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of us aren't doing that. And I've been guilty of it many times with a boss or with a friend or
Mhm.
and now that I think I'm older and wiser, hopefully, I have started to, like I said, with my friend,
Mhm.
with, other
Standing up for
bosses,
yourself.
bosses in my past. I've started like, cause I'm like, I take it and then I'm like, wait a minute. No, what the fuck? You're fucking abusing me. You're bullying me.
Mhm.
You have
Right.
you're an egomaniac. Fuck you.
Oh my gosh.
Fuck you. No, I'm fucking no. I'm
No.
not putting up with it.
I would think if you have that kind of ego, everybody in your life has to slowly start to back away. I would assume because
Right.
that's how most people
Right.
deal with
Have
it.
no
That's how
friends
I
left.
would deal with it. Yeah, is you're
Exactly.
just
But
like, dude, I don't want to,
a lot of
especially like out
people
in
don't.
public.
A lot of people
Yes.
don't. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't.
You got to have a healthy sense
lot
of
of us
self to
don't.
back away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're in a workplace and your boss has got a huge ego,
True. I guess that's different.
then you're like held captive.
Right.
You are
yeah.
because you
Literally.
need the
Tough
job, you
one.
need the paycheck.
Yeah. I mean, when I worked at this rehab in the area in Palm Beach County,
Ooh.
loved the job.
Yeah.
However, the egos in the administration were as bigger than this entire room.
Yeah.
Oh
I've
no.
never seen anything like that in my life. And some of the things they wanted us to do, I didn't want to do.
Right.
Like, cut corners and save, do things that I did not feel comfortable with.
Heavy on
Ethically-
prescribing meds.
Not medication, but more like spending less time with the patient. So you
Okay. Yeah.
do your notes on the hour, but the hour is supposed to be strictly therapy.
Got it.
Right. And these people pay a lot of money.
Yeah, I went to rehab. It was super expensive. Yeah.
Very expensive. So, when you go, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah, totally.
If you want to give the patient the full
That
whatever
whole
the-
hour or
they're-
whatever it is.
because that's your time.
That's when we need you most, is when we're in
That's the most
treatment,
important
especially
thing.
when we're
Of
an
course.
inpatient. Yeah,
Of course,
that's
and they're
that
thinking
was
about dollar signs. and-
Right. And
You know.
the taking up the time so they don't have to pay the therapists because,
Right.
so obviously I don't work there anymore. They gradually pushed contract people out, but I loved working there. But
Yeah.
the egos there were like, I'd never seen anything like that in my life.
that
Wow.
sucks.
Yeah,
Because
it
that's
really
a
does
place
suck.
where you really
And
hope
that's the place
That's
you
the place
need.
you
Yeah,
need
that's the
therapy.
place
You
where you
need
hope
people that
people are
want to be there.
they're
behind
on
you.
your side and there for the
Yeah.
right reasons. It's a bummer.
And
That's
Yeah.
fucked up. That's fucked
It is.
up.
It was pretty screwed up, but I really loved the patients and the people there. I just loved that job so much. It was
Yeah.
in addition to my private practice.
Right.
But I really enjoyed it. But it was the egos, you know what I mean? And I'll never forget when they called and told me they were not going to keep me.
Mm-hmm.
They said something about ethics. And I said, well, when somebody calls me off the street and they're having a big problem, I adhere to a code of ethics. Right. I
Sure.
do what I have to do. I don't dilly-dally around and go through whatever they wanted me to do.
Right.
Yeah.
She's like, well, we don't do that here.
You wanted to help the patient,
She's like, we don't
and
do
they
that
were
here."
worried about.
Not about
you
the
know,
They were
yeah.
worried about
They were
themselves.
worried about
I didn't call
paying-
Tom, Dick, or Harry or
Yeah,
whoever.
right.
Yeah.
Which I
That's
did do, by
bullshit.
the way.
That's
I did.
fucking bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Fucking
sad.
the egos can be very destructive,
Yeah.
dangerous.
Dangerous.
Big egos, right?
Mhm.
Very
And,
Yeah.
dangerous.
As we've seen. Yeah.
and you can see, perfectly beautiful businesses get ruined because somebody decides to just leave or not pay or do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah,
They
it
don't
gets
want to
out
pay
of
their
control.
bills.
Yeah.
I'm drinking it. They don't want to pay. How about this? When someone comes in for service and then they don't pay, now that's an ego.
There you go.
Ooh.
Like pay because they didn't feel like it was worth the
Right.
money they got. But I imagine that's one of the only challenges you can get
God,
on billing
wait,
and psychology, right?
TikTok is filled with that shit.
Really?
Like, people go into businesses,
Mhm.
especially like nails and hair,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, but the whoever the technician is,
Sure.
they kind of already know in the beginning when they
Mhm.
start talking to the
Mhm.
person, and all of a sudden they're like, I'm not paying for that. And they're like, what? Why? I did exactly what we wanted to do. Oh no, blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and they give these excuses.
Sure.
And
Oh.
it's like, what?
Wait, who's posting it? The person who got screwed or the
Yeah, the
person
person who
doing
got
the
screwed.
screwing? Okay,
Yeah.
I was going to
Yeah,
say
oh,
that
what's
would be
the-
a crazy sense of
TikTok,
ego.
Oh my God, it's
yeah.
filled with them.
That's
Oh, it's
so
just-
Yeah,
crazy.
they don't like
Yeah.
the way their hair color came out
Right,
or their nail.
right.
That's
Oh.
tough business.
Right.
I can't
And they're like,
imagine.
I did exactly what you wanted. Oh yeah, but it's my birthday, or oh, it's
Right.
this, or you
So
didn't,
crazy.
you didn't, or you didn't take me the time that you told me you were gonna.
Mhm.
You know, like they think of all,
And those
Oh,
and you're watching, and you're like, what? This doesn't even
oh
make
that's
sense.
so gross.
Yeah, it's
it really
gross.
it's really
gross. It's
low
gross.
low end.
Yeah, low.
You know what I tell
low end.
people? If it's
Low
a,
class.
a new person that comes in, I will have them pay like a
Pay
deposit.
ahead. Right.
That makes sense.
Because I've been burned so many times
Yeah.
where they'll say, "Oh, I'll be there," and then they don't show up, and
Yeah.
I booked the hour or something like
Right.
that, or
Right.
Because then you just lost whatever it is,
Right.
whatever that
because
copay
they
is.
think
Yeah.
their ego's so big that I don't need to confirm this session.
That's
You know,
crazy.
I just don't need to
Sucks.
show
That's
up.
crazy shit.
It is
Yeah.
crazy shit.
I know.
such
I
a
hate
bummer.
that.
It's like a
I hate
circus, and
that.
I've never really cared for the clowns. You know what I'm saying?
All right. What else do we have to say? Any more questions?
Yeah. Anybody?
Ego.
I'm
egos.
like,
egos.
I'm pulling my hair because I have a hat on.
You have
today.
beautiful hair.
Okay.
Beautiful hair.
My
Great.
hat is, well, I wore a hat in memory of JP.
Is that what he normally
RIP.
wears? for?
He always wore a trucker hat.
Oh, I like a
usually.
trucker hat.
Rest his soul.
Oh,
in
yeah.
peace.
Yeah, at the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why I wore it. And I had a bad hair day too. I'm not gonna lie. But FAM561 is my boy Derek's group that is here in Palm Beach County, FAM561.
Is it a
Follow
band?
it.
What is it?
It's a group. We have a group. We on Facebook.
Oh, okay, cool.
And, yeah. And we all kind of band together. It's a cool group.
Sweet.
Ooh, what do you guys
should
talk
join.
about?
Cool.
Yeah,
I'll
you
check it
guys
out.
could join it.
What
Join it.
do we talk
I
about?
don't know,
in it?
whatever. But we get together and we have little, whoever's
like
Fam
get-togethers?
561. We're all,
Sounds so fun.
we're all Fam 561.
Well, we are.
We all live here. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a cool
Fam
thing.
561
Cool
on
thing.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
check
he
it out,
has-
everybody.
Yeah, and he has a cool merch. And
I love it. I'll buy something.
yeah.
Yeah,
he's
and also,
smart.
you know what? Somebody with a good ego would say, you know what? I would love to join something. Someone with a big ass ego would be like, I don't need any more friends.
See?
It all ties together.
I love it. I love it.
All ties together. That's right.
All right.
What else? Shout out to who else? Who else tonight? JP, we miss
Shout out to
him.
JP. We miss
Liz
him.
Lerner.
Dr. Liz Lerner.
Dr. Liz Lerner. We love
Oh,
her.
we didn't do this last time. What are your social media handles? So people can
Oh,
follow you?
okay. Well, first of all, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, even though people
Right.
call me doctor anyway, but
I know.
whatever. I know that.
I know. We
So I have my Facebook. I have a Facebook work page. I know that's for like old people, but
Mhm.
well, I'm there. So sometimes I'll post like little tidbits. Older. So it's Elizabeth G. Lerner, LCSW.
Cool. We'll add that
Okay.
on the tag in the video
Yeah,
episode.
we'll do that.
Yep.
And
And
what
then
else?
my Instagram, I got hacked last year. So okay, my new one is Elizabeth.Lerner2024.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I have a TikTok, just for
Oh.
funsies.
Yes.
So I mix professional along with fun and personal. And that's my TikTok is Lizzie Girl 816.
Oh,
Love
okay,
it.
cool.
A fun one.
All
I like
right.
It's a fun one.
All right,
Sweet.
we're getting on that. All right, cool. Let's do a gasm of the week.
that. Okay.
Hold on, I lost it
Orgasm in there.
because I can't memorize shit. Yeah, my brain's fucking fried.
Your brain is
I'm
perfect.
fucking old. All right, here we go. All right, gasm of the week, everybody. When ego leads, failure follows close behind.
I like it.
I like it. It's
Like
deep.
that.
Ooh.
Ah, it's true.
True.
That's true, baby.
Yeah, definitely.
Where can everybody find us, Andrew?
Everybody can-
Production.
Production assistant? No.
No,
Producer.
No,
Producer.
you are a director. You're a
It's a healthy
What I
sense
do?
of ego.
You're
Producer.
A producer.
Yeah. Healthy sense of ego, producer. Yeah. So you can find us on YouTube at Lifegasm Podcast. Facebook is also Lifegasm Podcast. And then when we get to TikTok, it's Lifegasm_podcast. Instagram is Lifegasm_podcast. And X is just Lifegasm Podcast.
And we need
all
you
the
to
socials.
like, follow, download, subscribe. We need comments. We need, come on,
Questions.
blow it up.
Comments.
Questions, comments.
Concerns.
Blow it up. Come on. I've gotten a lot of questions on Instagram, which are
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love that.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Everybody, we'll see you next week. Good night. We're going to have a new co-host guest.
Woo.
And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a former reality star.
Look at us.
And yeah, look at us. We're blowing out.
Woo!
Woo!
Blow it
All right.
up.
Thank you, everybody. Good night. We'll see you next week.
Bye.